and welcome to my Keep It Simple series. This is going to be a series of videos on my blog that I'm going to do each Wednesday, just giving something simple, a simple recipe, a simple tip, a simple trick to help you be healthier. Now I know from the table that I have in front of me, it doesn't look like this is going to be very simple, but I promise this is not going to be complicated. Alright, today we're going to talk about stocking your pantry, refrigerator, freezer. That's going to be the basis of all of your simple tricks that I'm going to give you. Having the right tools on hand obviously makes it a lot easier to have to make quick meals, to make quick choices, and make them healthy as well. So my number one tip is to have a well-stocked pantry and a well-stocked freezer as well. Out here I have just a few of the things that I always have on hand. Now, don't get overwhelmed and think, oh my gosh, I have to go out and buy all of this stuff, because you're going to be very sad, and so is your bank account. I built this up over time, and I slowly started adding these things in. Also, a lot of these things I buy in bulk, so that I'm not paying more expensive things for just a small amount when I'm going to be using them over and over again. A lot of grocery stores now are jumping on the bulk bandwagon. I know Whole Foods has a great bulk section. A lot of grocery stores have them. The town that I used to live in, a very small town, rural town, had a bulk section, so I'm sure you can find bulk section for a lot of these stuff. Now, let's get into what I have on hand that makes it really easy for me to make quick meals. Dried goods. Let's start over here. I have here quinoa. I always have oatmeal on hand, lentils, beans of different kinds. I have black beans and white beans here. I also have pasta. I use brown rice pasta because I don't necessarily, my stomach doesn't necessarily agree with gluten. So I use brown rice pasta. It works a lot just as well as regular, but you can also have whole wheat pasta. I know there's quinoa pasta, corn pasta, whatever works for you and whatever you like. Now, I also have flours that I like to cook with. Right here I have almond flour, I have brown rice flour. I also use coconut flour. That works well in a lot of baked goods. Also, welcome to Olaf. He will probably be making an appearance in a lot of these videos because he's curious. I also have a variety of nuts and seeds. Cashews, I use cashews a lot because they're a great way to do a lot of creamy things when you don't want to use dairy. I have a cashew cream sauce on my blog, so if you want to look for that, I use that in a lot of recipes. Almonds, like I said, I have almond flour, but I also keep almonds on hand because I season them and roast them up for snacks for my husband to take to work. That's a great snack to have on hand. Seeds, I have chia seeds, I also have flax seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds. I also make my own butternut squash seeds. They're great for adding into oatmeals, salads, snacks, quick grab and go. If you want to make your own trail mix, that are great to have for that. Along with that, I also have nut and seed butters, peanut butter. I cannot live without peanut butter, so I always have a large jar of just peanut butter. It's just peanuts and it has a little bit of salt, so no added sugars or oils or flavors or anything like that, just good old peanut butter. Tahini is another seed butter that I use a lot. It's great for, obviously, hummus, if you are a hummus fan, which I am, but also for making dressings and sauces. I have tahini on hand. I also have a variety of oils and vinegars. I have olive oil, which I keep in a squeeze bottle, which makes it a lot easier to use. I also use coconut oil for a lot of baking, great for baking and roasting. I have balsamic vinegar here, which I will be sharing a recipe for balsamic cauliflower wings that is amazing, and I'll be using that for the Super Bowl. I also have apple cider vinegar, which I use every day to poach my eggs in. I use water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It adds a little bit of flavor and it helps to keep the poached egg together, and it also has a lot of health benefits. I also have liquid aminos, which is kind of like soy sauce, but not soy sauce. It still does have soy in it, so if you're avoiding soy, I recommend coconut aminos, which will taste a lot like soy sauce, but I use this for marinades, stir fries, sauces, dressings, stuff like that. I also have miso on here, which is a fermented soybean. I use this mostly in my macaroni and cheese sauce. I know that sounds really weird, but it works. It adds that kind of nice salty flavor to my mac and cheese. But it's also really great because it's fermented and it helps with probiotics and working with your gut and making your digestion a lot better. So that's another great thing to have on hand. Also I have tomatoes of every variety, diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste. This helps for making, again, soups, dressings, obviously tomato sauce for if you want to use it for pasta. I use it as topping on my lentil loaf that I make every week. It's great just to have on hand to have the extra flavor. In the summer, when tomatoes are obviously more abundant and cheaper, I will buy fresh tomatoes, but I always also have canned tomatoes on hand. As far as other canned goods, I don't typically like to buy canned beans, but because I use dried beans and that to me taste a little better and they have a better texture. But canned beans are great. Just rinse them and soak them and rinse them and you're good. I also have canned coconut milk and canned coconut cream, which I use in a variety of baking and sauces and soups and stuff like that. Another big thing which I have under here that is just one of my many spice racks, herbs and spices. Trust me, you are going to want to build up your spice rack, because that is going to be what is going to add a lot of flavor to your dishes, especially if you're coming off of a highly processed diet. Using spices and herbs is going to help you keep that flavor and keep it from tasting boring, because who wants to eat a boring piece of plain chicken? You're going to want to build up spices. I have tons. I have another rack that's sitting over there. I don't know if you can see my pantry behind me, but this whole shelf here is all spices. And I have another shelf in my kitchen with more spices. I tend to make a lot of my own blends, so I can have like herb and garlic blend, Italian seasoning blend, but I just like having a lot of flavors to play with, and that will also be a big thing in this simple series. The other thing I talked about was having a stocked freezer as well. In my freezer right now I have a lot of pureed butternut squash because I stocked up on that when they were cheap this fall. So I have pureed and cubed squash that is great for adding to sauces, soups, baked goods. Just you can use that, and like you can use pumpkin if you want to make a butternut squash pie. Make a butternut squash pie. But I like having that on hand so I can just go to my freezer and I always have vegetables. I also have bags of frozen vegetables that I buy at the grocery store. Some people don't think that they're as healthy because they're frozen, but they're just as good, if not better sometimes, than fresh, because you can't always get fresh produce, especially in the winter, and getting it frozen makes it really easy to have vegetables at every single meal. I also have leftovers in my freezer. I'll make big crock pot meals and I will put them in bags and then freeze them so that I can just pull a bag out when I don't feel like cooking a meal and be like, here, I have a home-cooked healthy meal. I also have frozen muffins, cornbread, little bites like that I can pull out for sides. And there's also deer meat in there from my mother and father-in-law, but I don't eat meat. My husband will probably devour that meat at some point. So I know this seems like a lot, like, oh my gosh, I need to go out and buy all of these things. No. Slowly build it up over time. Slowly start incorporating these things and start buying a little bit more bulk. That's going to be easy to start building that up, and cheap, because buying in bulk is a lot cheaper than it is buying it every single time you go to the grocery store. And a lot of these things like beans keep for a really long time, so you can buy a lot and not worry about it going bad. Also, you don't have to buy these things if they're things that don't work with your digestion or your health, or you don't like the taste of them. I would say give them a try, but don't force yourself to eat anything that you do not want to eat. Again, you don't have to worry about getting this all in at once. Just start to make sure to start adding it. Each time you go to the grocery store, instead of buying that bag of Pop-Tarts, buy a bag of almonds instead. Start making the switch slowly and start incorporating these things more and more. That way that all of a sudden you realize you have this whole arsenal of healthy things to eat. And if you don't have bad things in your house, you won't eat bad things. If you have good things in your house, you're going to eat good things. So that is my first tip for you, my first video that I'm going to give you. Start building up your pantry and your freezer and your refrigerator, and start stocking these things so that you can start making healthier choices and having healthier meals. I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to see you next week for our next